families, welcome back once again. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If this is your first time here, my name is Mambe and you are very welcome. I bring you news from the AES. The president had online meeting. They have launched an organization called Liptako Gourma. First time I've heard it. So if it is your first time as well, then maybe you will learn something. That's why I'm looking up. I just researched it a bit. It's an organization that is about 55 years old. That one is according to General Abdourahmane TIANI, the president of Niger. So they have to relaunch it, reform it, so it will suit the three countries. Already it's for the three countries. President Captain Ibrahim Traore also spoke, and he was mainly concerned about the money that comes in to run this organization, which is from foreign country. And no, they will not like it. I must admit, President ASSIMI Goita wanted to say something, but there was a music there, so I didn't hear it properly. He mentioned something about Algeria before his statement. Families, please listen and I'll be back. Before I forget, this video is translated by AI, but it's not fake news. I'm not clever enough to narrate this story. I'll be back, families.
First of all, I would like to welcome my brothers to this video conference. His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traore, President of FASO and Head of State, and Army General ASSIMI Goita, President of the Transition and Head of State of the Republic of Mali, as well as their respective delegations. Niger is particularly honored to host the 8th ordinary session of the Conference of Heads of State of the Liptako Gourma Integrated Development Authority, ALG. This session of our joint organization is being held in a context where our three states, after signing the Liptako Gourma Charter on the 16th of September 2023, establishing the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, created the Confederation of Sahel States, AES, on the 6th of July 2024 in Niamey. The creation of this geopolitical space responds to the urgent need to defend our sovereignty while also giving new momentum to strategic cooperation between our states. First and foremost, the aim will be to work towards the security and territorial integrity, and then the prosperity of our shared space. This objective can only be achieved through the strengthening of our collective defense and mutual assistance framework, the harmonization of diplomatic action, and the implementation of joint integrative development projects and programs. It is with this in mind that the ministerial bodies of the Confederation have proposed capitalizing on the integrative projects of the ALG Executive Secretariat by transforming the structure into an agency for the implementation of development projects and programs and integrating it into the AES Confederation's framework. Indeed, it should be recalled that at the creation of the AES, through the signing of the Liptako Gourma Charter, we affirmed our commitment to the objectives and ideals of the ALG, which is presented as one of the oldest development organizations in the sub-region. This is an opportunity to commend the efforts of all those who have contributed to this organization from its inception to the present day, and who have achieved the results we know, given the context and despite the constraints they face. But today, it has become urgent and necessary to review the status of the ALG by granting it the appropriate place within the institutional framework of the AES Confederation in accordance with the vision that guided its creation. To do this, not only will we build on ALG's experience in development, cross-border cooperation, and its ability to develop a grassroots approach that supports local initiatives for stabilizing the Liptako Gourma region, But above all, we will take our current context into account. Your Excellency, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the current context in our three states is characterized not only by a new paradigm of sovereignty and patriotism, but above all, by a rebuilding of our institutions based on endogenous and harmonious development. This decisive turning point is being driven by the people, whose aspirations have long been overlooked by political decisions often dictated from outside. Your Excellency, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, this session, although we will take the opportunity to review a few matters, has only one item on its agenda: the transformation of the Liptako Gourma Authority into an executive agency and its positioning within the institutional architecture of the AES Confederation in accordance with the conclusions of the 13th extraordinary session of the ALG Council of Ministers held on May 24, 2025 in Bamako. In this regard, we have high expectations for this new agency in terms of effectiveness and efficiency. Once again, expressing my deep gratitude to His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traore and Army General ASSIMI Goita for their steadfast commitment to building a sovereign confederal space of security and prosperity. I wish our work every success and hereby declare open the 8th ordinary session of the Conference of Heads of State and Government of the Integrated Development Authority of the Liptako Gourma State. Long live the reformed ALG. Long live the AES Confederation. Thank you for your kind attention. Discussions will significantly help to determine the most appropriate and effective approaches to better integrate Algeria into the broader architecture of our confederation, specifically under the crucial development axis. Is this merely a simple transformation, or does it entail a more profound and comprehensive change? This desire for change that we are celebrating today stems from our shared determination to take current geopolitical realities into account, as well as the need to adjust our organization's structures in response to present-day challenges. This approach will surely spare us from creating additional structures whose operation and implementation would be costly for our states. By reorganizing what already exists, while taking into account the new realities of our confederal space, we will succeed in achieving our development goals. So, by listening to the current situation, we can easily understand that the authority is functioning. It was mentioned regarding the member states' contributions, and it was pointed out that as of this July, only the salaries for this month remain. This means that perhaps some contributions are not up to date, which will therefore allow us to quickly identify what needs to be done to possibly maintain jobs and salaries. But she also spoke about subsidies, which is a point of concern for me. There is the issue of loans and financial partners, which are also important points in my view. We need to have several meetings with these potential experts who will be appointed to reflect on the fund and the transformation of the authority. Because if I remember correctly, the issue of subsidies in our sub-regional organizations still represents a danger in our eyes. These subsidies are not necessarily given out of friendship or because they like us, but very often with hidden intentions behind them. And that deserves thorough consideration. So behind all this, how should the structure operate so that we can fully take responsibility and own up? The first focus is the reasons for this transformation. The second focus is the consequences, and the third focus is the expectations. As for the reasons, we all know that the current context is marked by a new sovereignist and patriotic paradigm embodied by our confederation. This is an essential factor to consider, especially in relation to our new directions. The second point among these reasons is the concern for rebuilding our institutions based on endogenous and harmonious development. We grasp the significance of this point when we refer to the presentation of the current situation by the Executive Secretary, where we are already facing a critical situation regarding the August salary. Furthermore, we discover that the majority of subsidies come from outside our confederation sphere. I am talking about financial contributions. So these are enormous challenges, which is why this second point is so meaningful. It is the desire to free the authority of Liptako Gourma from administrative inertia and the influence of partners and other foreign powers, which too often characterize some of our institutions and distance them from their objectives. As for the consequences, the ALG was created on the 3rd of December, 1970. 55 years of experience in development, cooperation, transformation, the ability to develop a grassroots approach, support for local initiatives, and stabilization of the Liptako Gourma region. But it is also an experience, as I mentioned earlier, that reveals the weaknesses of the ALG, whose funding is expected to come mostly from outside sources. However, our entirely new paradigm does not allow us to continue operating solely on the basis of external financial support. Let us continue to deeply reflect so that funding as a crucial element can be sustained and effectively utilized, ensuring our long-term viability and independence. It is endogenous. And the third focus is that of expectations. We know that expectations are based on the agency's effectiveness and efficiency. To make it more dynamic and aligned with our current directions and challenges, to ensure the appointment or appointments that specifically address these need to transform the ALG into an executing agency. And finally, the issue of personnel, which will be managed gradually at the level of the restructured. First of all, we are already facing a major problem regarding the August salary. Then we discovered that most of the subsidies come from outside our confederation sphere. I'm talking about financial contributions. So these are huge challenges, which is why this second point is so important. It's about the desire to free the authority of Liptako Gourma from administrative inertia and the influence of partners and other foreign powers, which too often characterize some of our institutions and distance them from their objective. As for the consequences, the ALG was created on the 3rd of December, 1970. 55 years of experience in development, cooperation, transformation, the ability to develop a grassroots approach, support for local initiatives, and stabilizing the Liptako Gourma region. But it's also an experience, as I mentioned earlier, that reveals the weaknesses of the ALG, whose funding is mostly expected to come from outside. However, our new paradigm does not allow us to continue operating on the basis of external support. Let us continue to reflect so that, as agreed, funding becomes endogenous. And the third focus is on expectations. We know that expectations are based on the agency's effectiveness and efficiency. To make it more dynamic and aligned with our current directions and challenges, ensure the appointment or appointments that specifically address this need to transform the ALG into an executing agency. And finally, the issue of personnel, which will be managed gradually at the level of the restructured ALG, following the well-established procedures within our agenda.
Thank you so much, families, for listening. This is just a quick breaking news I want to share with you. These three presidents, they all have something different but unique. You can tell President Captain Ibrahim Traore always his mind is on the money most of the time. I mean, apart from security and other things, but he's like the accountant among them. General ASSIMI Goita is like the warrior among them. And General Abdourahmane is older than them. He's the wise man among them. You add your own because this is what I have observed. What you have observed among them, you put it there. They all have their unique something that anyone can see in them differently. But I'm sure this conference that they had might be very long. Might be, I mean, there will be a lot of discussions, but this is just 15 minutes they want to share with us. I'm sorry, I'm sweating. And so I'll be looking forward to more. If there is more there that they want to share, and I'll add it to this one. But for now, it's a reform. It's old organization. They want it to work for them now because today's agenda is different from 50 years old or 5 years old. Things that they might be doing may be different from today. And they want it to work for 8 years, not for other people, especially when you say you are independent and be sponsored like ECOWAS, that other countries has to pay for the outkeeping of ECOWAS, and that's why they hold it. It won't work. So I'm happy that they are doing this. I must remind you, if you are new here and you don't know, December they are holding AES meeting, and I'm sure everything will be on the table for us to see or hear. I'll leave you here, families. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Yes, of course, this is AI that I've used to translate the video or the news for us, those of us who do not understand French. That's what I do here. So, yes, if you are new here and you don't know, now you know. What you see is what you get. I will not add anything to it except reacting on it because that's what I do here. Without it, YouTube will not allow me. That so I have to talk as well. Yes. Credit to Faso 7, NRT, and Sahel Info, also ORTM, because I'm sure I will get more from them all. Thank you, families. My VIPs, my kids and queens, my returning families, thank you so much. I hope you are all well, and I mean it by the grace of God. Thank you so much, families. I'll leave you here. I'll leave you here.